The alarm screaming through Station Meridian meant one thing: someone was dying. Commander Vask sprinted down the corridor, his three-fingered hands gripping the railings as he took corners at dangerous speed. Through the viewport ahead, he could see the diplomatic bay, and what he saw made his blood freeze. Ambassador Thren, his closest friend for 40 years, was convulsing on the deck. Medical teams swarmed around him, but Vask could see the truth in their frantic movements. They had no idea what was happening. Across the bay, separated by a rapidly descending emergency barrier, stood a human. Just standing there, one hand extended, frozen in the middle of what their database called a handshake. The human's dark face was twisted in horror, his mouth forming words Vask couldn't hear over the alarms. And then Thren went still. The medical readouts flatlined. In the sudden, terrible silence that followed, Vask realized something that would haunt him forever. First contact with humanity had just become a murder investigation. Vask didn't remember running the rest of the way. One moment he was at the viewport, the next he was kneeling beside Thren's body, pushing past the medical teams. His friend's gray skin had turned a sickly blue-black, his eyes frozen wide in what looked like absolute agony. What happened? Vask's voice came out as a rasp. What killed him? Medical Officer Thren looked up, his young face pale with shock. Commander, we don't know. One moment they were greeting each other, the next, Ambassador Thren collapsed. His neural system just cascaded, complete systemic failure in under 40 seconds. Vask's gaze shifted to the emergency barrier. Through the transparent aluminum, the human stood motionless, his hands now pressed against his head. Two human security officers flanked him, their weapons holstered, but hands ready. The human was speaking rapidly, gesturing, clearly trying to explain something. "Lower the barrier," Vask ordered. "Sir, protocol says, lower it, now." The barrier hissed upward. The human immediately stepped forward, but his security team grabbed his arms, holding him back. Smart. Whatever had killed Thren might still be a threat. "Commander Vask," the human's voice cracked. His translator rendered the words in perfect galactic standard, but Vask could hear the raw emotion underneath. "I'm Ambassador Marcus Webb. I swear to you, I don't know what happened. We were following standard diplomatic greeting protocols. I extended my hand. He mirrored the gesture. We made contact, and then he just started screaming." Vask stood slowly. He was shorter than the human by nearly a foot, but he drew himself up to full height anyway. "You touched him." "Yes, it's called a handshake. It's how humans greet each other. It's a sign of—" "It killed him." Marcus flinched as if struck. I would never— Commander, please, you have to believe me. Humans have been shaking hands for thousands of years. It's harmless. It's supposed to show trust, respect, friendship. I don't understand what went wrong." Vask stared at the human. Marcus appeared genuinely distraught. His dark eyes were wet with tears, his shoulders shaking. Either he was the best actor in the galaxy, or he truly had no idea his touch was lethal. "Security Chief Toril," Vask said quietly. "Escort Ambassador Webb to the isolation quarters. Full containment protocols. No physical contact with anyone or anything until we understand what happened here." "Understood." Toril moved forward with his team, weapons now drawn, not pointed at Marcus, but ready. The human didn't resist. He just nodded numbly and allowed himself to be led away. As they disappeared down the corridor, Thren approached Vask. "Commander, we need to preserve the body, run full diagnostics. If the human has some kind of bioweapon—" "Do it." "And Thren," Vask looked down at his friend's corpse one last time, "find out what killed him, whatever it takes."
The briefing room felt too small, too cold. Vask sat at the head of the conference table, surrounded by his senior staff and 3 council representatives who had arrived via emergency quantum link. Their holographic forms flickered slightly, blue-tinged and translucent. Councillor Thren, a silver-skinned Malveri with 4 arms and cold eyes, spoke first. "Commander Vask, this is an unprecedented disaster. First contact with a new species resulting in the death of our ambassador? The implications are catastrophic. We're still investigating. There's nothing to investigate, Prain interrupted. The facts are clear. The human touched Ambassador Thren. Ambassador Thren died. The human species is a threat. We don't know that. Vask kept his voice level despite his rising frustration. Ambassador Webb appeared genuinely shocked by what happened. His medical records show no signs of carrying biological weapons. His ship's database describes this handshake as a peaceful greeting used across all human cultures. Perhaps they're lying, said Counselor Vorn, a stocky Korthan with bronze skin. Perhaps this is how they eliminate threats, a peaceful greeting that kills on contact. Or perhaps, interjected Counselor Ress, an aquatic Shen whose hologram rippled like water, there's a biological incompatibility we don't yet understand. The humans are from a Class 12 Deathworld. Their evolution followed a drastically different path than most community species. Vask seized on that. Exactly. We need to understand the mechanism before we make accusations. The mechanism doesn't matter, Prain said coldly. The outcome does. I'm recommending immediate quarantine of Earth and all human vessels. No further contact until we determine they're safe. That's premature. Is it? How many more of us need to die before you take this threat seriously, Commander? The words hung in the air like poison. Vask wanted to argue, but what could he say? Thren was dead, killed by a handshake, a greeting, something the humans did every day without thought. Give me 72 hours, Vask finally said. Let me investigate properly. If the humans are truly dangerous, we need to understand why. And if they're not, if this was a tragic accident, then we owe it to them and to Thren's memory to find the truth. Prain's forearms crossed over her chest, a gesture of deep skepticism. 72 hours, Commander. But I'm placing Station Meridian under Level 7 security protocols. All human personnel are to be isolated. No contact with community species under any circumstances. And if there's one more incident, one more death, Earth will be quarantined permanently. Are we clear? Crystal clear, Counselor.
The holograms blinked out. Vask was left alone with his staff, all of whom looked as exhausted as he felt. Kren spoke first. The autopsy results are coming through now. Commander, you should see this. He pulled up a holographic display. Medical data streamed across the screen. Complex biological readouts that would take hours to fully analyze. But Kren highlighted several key sections. Ambassador Thren's cause of death was multi-system failure. His cardiovascular system went into arrhythmia. His neural network experienced what I can only describe as an electrical storm. His skin showed signs of rapid cellular degradation at the point of contact with the human. And his immune system triggered an extreme defensive response, essentially attacking his own body. Vask studied the data. All of that from a handshake? That's what's so bizarre. We found no toxins, no pathogens, no chemical weapons, no radiation beyond standard background levels. The human's hand was completely clean by any conventional measure. Then what killed him? Kren pulled up a new screen. This one showed a molecular analysis of human skin. I sent all our data to the Xenobiology Institute on Kuran Station. They have the galaxy's leading experts on biological diversity. Their preliminary report came back an hour ago. He paused. Commander, humans aren't just different from us. They're fundamentally incompatible with most community species. Explain. Human skin is packed with nerve endings, millions per square inch. They can detect minute changes in temperature, pressure, texture. They're incredibly sensitive to their environment. So they're fragile. No, that's the problem. They're not fragile at all. Humans generate bioelectricity at levels we've never encountered in a sapient species. Every movement, every thought, every heartbeat produces electric current. They're walking power generators.
Vask felt cold understanding beginning to dawn. Static electricity. Exactly. On their homeworld, with its specific atmospheric conditions, this isn't a problem. Humans regularly discharge excess electricity. They call it getting shocked and consider it a minor annoyance. But for us, Kren's expression was grim. Ambassador Thren's nervous system was hit with an electric charge it had no framework to process. It triggered a cascade failure. That's not all, interrupted Science Officer Ven, pulling up another display. Human body temperature averages 37 degrees centigrade. That's within normal parameters for carbon-based life, but the rate of heat transfer during skin contact is extreme. Human skin has a thermal conductivity that caused rapid temperature shock to Thren's more sensitive cells. Communications Officer Rel added his own data. And then there's the bacterial issue. Humans are colonized by trillions of microorganisms. They live in symbiosis with entire ecosystems of bacteria. Most are harmless to them. Some are beneficial, but to species that evolved in different conditions, he shook his head. Thren's immune system registered the human skin bacteria as a massive invasion. It went into hyperactive defense mode. All of this combined killed him, Vask said slowly. In under 40 seconds, Kren confirmed. Commander, the humans didn't attack us. They didn't deploy a weapon. They simply touched us, and that touch is lethal. Security Chief Torrell leaned forward, his scarred face troubled. Do they know that they're walking biohazards? I don't think so, Rel said. I've been analyzing their cultural database. Handshakes are ancient, fundamental to human society. They shake hands to greet friends, to seal business deals, to show respect, to apologize. It's how they say, I trust you. In human culture, refusing to shake someone's hand is one of the gravest insults you can give. So, from their perspective, Ambassador Webb was simply being polite, welcoming, following diplomatic protocol. Yes, and he accidentally killed Thren in the process. The briefing room fell silent. Vask looked around at his crew. Good people, smart people, people who had spent their careers bringing species together, building bridges across the galaxy. And now they faced a species whose very touch was death. Ambassador Webb requested another meeting, Rel said quietly. He sent 43 messages in the past 6 hours. He wants to apologize, to explain. He's desperate to make this right. Vask stood and walked to the viewport. Outside, the human vessel hung in space, small and primitive by galactic standards. They'd built themselves, launched it from their homeworld, made it all the way out here to meet the aliens they'd dreamed about for centuries. They'd come in peace, extended their hand in friendship, and killed someone with it. Schedule the meeting, Vask said. Tomorrow. Full protective protocols. I need to look Marcus Webb in the eye and tell him why his people can never shake hands with the galaxy.
Marcus looked worse than before. Dark circles under his eyes suggested he hadn't slept. His formal suit was rumpled, his tie loosened. When his face appeared on the view screen, Vask could see the weight of grief and guilt pressing down on him. Commander Vask. Marcus's voice was hoarse. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me. I don't have words adequate to express my sorrow over Ambassador Thren's death. Vask stood in his environmental suit, isolated in the meeting room. The suit was uncomfortable, restrictive, but Kren had been adamant. No direct contact, no risks. Ambassador Webb, I appreciate your willingness to discuss this tragedy. Please, call me Marcus. The human's attempt at a smile failed completely. I've been reviewing the medical reports your team sent. I've had our biologists analyze everything. Commander, I'm starting to understand what happened, and it's... His voice broke. We're toxic to you. Our bodies, our skin, just touching us can kill you. That appears to be the case, yes. Marcus was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was hollow. I've spent 20 years as a diplomat. Before that, I was a soldier. I've seen combat. I've seen people die. but I've never killed anyone during a peace negotiation. Never killed someone by saying hello. You didn't know. That doesn't bring him back. Marcus looked directly at the camera, and Vask could see genuine anguish in those dark eyes. Tell me about him. About Thren. He deserves to be more than just the ambassador who died shaking my hand. The request caught Vask off guard. He'd expected anger, denial, legal arguments. Not this. Why do you want to know? Because if humans are going to move forward with your people, we need to understand what we've cost you. Who we've cost you. Marcus leaned forward. Please, Commander, tell me about your friend. Vask found himself speaking before he'd consciously decided to. Thren and I entered the diplomatic corps together 40 years ago. We were assigned to the Vexar border conflicts. Tensions were high. Both sides wanted war. Thren was the one who convinced them to talk instead of fight. He had this way of making people feel heard, understood. He believed that any conflict could be resolved through dialogue. He sounds like someone I would have liked to know. You would have. He would have liked you too. You share similar philosophies. He paused. He died doing what he believed in, making contact, building bridges. But Marcus, I need you to understand something. The Council is meeting right now. They're voting to weather quarantine Earth, to forbid any future contact between humans and the community. Marcus's face paled. No, Commander, please, you can't. I'm not making the decision. The Council is. But after what happened to Thren, I let the sentence hang. We didn't ask to evolve as walking bioweapons. We didn't choose to be dangerous. We just are. That's not fair. Life rarely is. Then let us fix it. Marcus stood suddenly, pacing in front of the camera. Commander, humans didn't survive on a Class 12 death world by giving up when things got difficult. We adapt, we innovate, we find solutions to impossible problems. Give us the chance to solve this one. How? You can't change your fundamental biology. Maybe not, but we can work around it. Marcus pulled up data on his end, sharing it to Vask's screen. I've been talking with our best microbiologists, bioengineers, dermatologists, people who understand human biology at the cellular level. They think we can develop a topical compound, something that neutralizes the bacteria, reduces electrical conductivity, creates a thermal buffer, make human skin safe for contact. Vask studied the preliminary data. It was surprisingly thorough. Complex chemical formulas, detailed analysis of the problem, proposed solutions backed by real science. This is impressive. Work for 6 hours of research. We haven't slept. The entire crew has been working on this. Commander, please, take this to the Council. Ask them to give us a chance. Let us prove we're worth the risk. And if you fail, if someone else dies, then you quarantine us, lock Earth away. We'll accept that fate. But let us try. That's all I'm asking. One chance to make this right. Vask looked at the human on the screen. Marcus Webb was exhausted, grieving, clearly terrified of the decision hanging over his species' future. But he wasn't giving up, wasn't accepting defeat. He was fighting for humanity's place in the galaxy with everything he had. It reminded Vask of Thren. That same stubborn refusal to accept that some bridges couldn't be built. I'll present your proposal to the Council, but I can't promise anything. The votes may already be cast against you. I understand, but thank you for listening, for, he swallowed hard, for not hating us. I don't hate you, Marcus. I'm angry, grieving, but I don't hate you. Vask moved closer to the screen. Thren believed in second chances, in finding solutions instead of surrendering to circumstances. If I can convince the Council to honor his memory, it will be by giving humanity the opportunity he would have wanted you to have." After the call ended, Vask sat alone in the meeting room, still in his environmental suit. His comm chimed. Thren's voice came through. "Commander, the Council session starts in 1 hour. Are you ready?" Was he ready? To argue for a species whose touch had killed his best friend. To risk more lives on the chance that humans could solve a problem written into their DNA. "No," Vask said honestly, "but I'm going anyway."
The council chamber was packed. Representatives from all 47 member species had assembled, either physically or via hologram. Vask stood at the center podium, feeling the weight of their collective stare. Councillor Thren called the session to order. "We convene to address the human question. Commander Vask has requested the opportunity to present an alternative to immediate quarantine. The floor is yours, Commander." Vask pulled up the data Marcus had sent. "Councillors, the humans have developed a potential solution to the contact problem, a topical compound that could make human touch safe for community species." "Could make is not will make," Thren interrupted. "You're asking us to risk more lives on speculation." "I'm asking you to honor the principles our community was founded on: inclusion, cooperation, finding solutions to seemingly impossible problems." Vask's voice grew stronger. "Yes, humans are dangerous. Yes, their biology makes them incompatible with most of our species, but they didn't choose that. They're simply the product of their environment." "An environment that makes them lethal to us," Thren snapped. "Commander, I understand you're grieving, but sentiment cannot override safety." "This isn't sentiment, it's pragmatism." Vask changed the display, showing images from Earth's cultural database. "Look at what humanity has accomplished. They've survived catastrophes that would have ended most species. Ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, asteroid impacts, pandemics that killed billions, wars that nearly destroyed their civilization. And every time they rebuilt, adapted, grew stronger." "None of that matters if they kill us when we meet them," said Councillor Breck, a crystalline Shen. "The Thale energy beings can't touch us either. Their very nature makes physical contact impossible. Yet we found ways to communicate, to coexist. We adapted our technology and protocols to accommodate their differences." "The Thale don't accidentally kill us," Thren shot back. "These humans, they look solid, they seem approachable, and then you die. That's worse than an obvious threat." "Which is exactly why we need to understand them," Vask argued. "Councillors, the humans are offering to work with us. Joint research teams, shared data, transparent testing of their proposed solution. They're not asking for unrestricted access. They're asking for a controlled partnership to solve this problem together." Thren's four arms crossed skeptically. "And if their solution fails? If testing results in another death?" "Then we end the partnership immediately. Earth gets quarantined, the humans accept that consequence. But if we don't try, we're establishing a dangerous precedent. We're saying that biology determines worth, that species who require accommodation aren't welcome. Is that truly who we want to be?" Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Vask could see representatives turning to each other, debating quietly. He pressed his advantage. Ambassador Thren dedicated his life to building bridges, to proving that any gap could be crossed with enough effort and good faith. He died trying to greet a new species, to welcome them into our community. If we quarantine humanity without giving them a chance to solve this problem, we're saying his death was meaningless, that the bridge he died trying to build can never be completed. Thren was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she spoke, her voice softer than before. "You believe the humans are genuine, that they truly want peaceful integration?" "I do. Ambassador Webb was devastated by what happened. I've watched him grieve, watched him work day and night to find a solution.
He's not a threat. He's a diplomat who accidentally killed someone while trying to greet them, and that tragedy is destroying him. Or it's an elaborate manipulation, Vorn muttered. I've reviewed the psychological profiles. Human emotional responses appear genuine. Their grief patterns match sincerity. If Marcus Webb is acting, he's doing it at a level that would fool our best xenopsychologists.
The debate continued for another 90 minutes. Arguments flew back and forth. Risk versus opportunity. Safety versus inclusion. Fear versus hope. Vask answered every question, addressed every concern, fought for humanity with an intensity that surprised even himself. Finally, Thren called for order. We will now vote on authorizing a controlled research partnership with Earth. All in favor. Hands rose. Holographic projections brightened. Vask counted. 8, 9, 10, 11 out of 47. His heart sank. It wasn't enough. They'd lost. But then Counselor Thren of the Vexar stood. The massive warrior, covered in scars from a dozen conflicts, cleared his throat. Before we finalize this vote, I would like to speak. Thren nodded. The floor recognizes Counselor Thren. I have fought in 7 wars, Thren began, his deep voice carrying through the chamber. I have seen enemies who wanted nothing more than to destroy us. I have looked into the eyes of beings who reveled in causing pain. The humans are not that. He paused. They made a mistake, a terrible, tragic mistake, but it was born of ignorance, not malice. And now they're offering to fix it, to work with us, to take responsibility for their actions. What's your point, Counselor Thren? Asked impatiently. My point is that honor matters. Courage matters. The humans could have fled after killing Ambassador Thren, could have returned to Earth and hidden behind their primitive technology. Instead, they stayed, faced the consequences, offered solutions. Thrn's gaze swept the chamber. That takes strength, and the Vexar respect strength. I change my vote to yes. More hands began to rise. Counselors who had voted no reconsidered. The tide was shifting. Final count, 26 to 21. The motion passed. Vask felt his knees weaken with relief. Thren's expression was unreadable as she announced, The Council authorizes a controlled research partnership with Earth. Commander Vask will oversee all interactions. Strict safety protocols must be maintained at all times. And if there is one more death, one more casualty, this partnership ends immediately. The vote is recorded. As the chamber emptied, Thren approached Vask. Up close, the Vexar was even more imposing. Commander, tell the humans not to waste this chance. The Council's patience is limited. I will. And Counselor, thank you. Thrn's teeth showed in what might have been a smile. Don't thank me yet. Make sure they succeed. If they fail, we all look like fools. Marcus's face lit up when Vask delivered the news via secure channel. You're serious? They approved it? Conditionally. 72 hours ago, my best friend died from shaking your hand. The Council is giving humanity one chance to prove you can coexist with us safely. Don't waste it. We won't. Commander, I swear to you, we'll make this work. Marcus was already pulling up files, his exhaustion forgotten in the surge of hope. I've assembled our best team. Dr. Sarah Chen leads our biological research. Dr. James Park handles bioelectric engineering. Dr. Amari Johnson specializes in dermatology and skin chemistry. These are the smartest people Earth has to offer. Over the next 3 weeks, the research partnership took shape. Human scientists and alien xenobiologists worked around the clock. Data flowed both ways.
Video conferences ran at all hours as teams collaborated across species lines. Dr. Chen appeared in Vask's office regularly via hologram. She was a small woman, with dark hair always pulled back in a practical ponytail, her eyes bright with fierce intelligence. "Commander, we're making progress. The compound is coming together." She pulled up a molecular diagram. Vask had learned to read human scientific notation over the past weeks, but the complexity still impressed him. "This is the Mark 7 formula. It neutralizes 94% of human skin bacteria, reduces electrical conductivity by 87%, creates a thermal buffer that slows heat transfer by 63%. Will that be enough? Honestly, we don't know. We can't test it without volunteers from your side, and understandably, no one's eager to risk their life after what happened to Ambassador Thren." Chen's expression was troubled. "We're working on developing a synthetic analog, something that mimics your biology without being alive. If we can get that working, we can test the compound safely." "How long?" 2 weeks, maybe 3. She paused. "Commander, can I ask you something personal?" "Go ahead." "Why are you doing this? You watched your friend die. You could have pushed for Earth's quarantine and no one would have blamed you. So why fight for us?" Vask considered the question. He'd asked himself the same thing many times over the past weeks. Because Thren would have wanted this, and because— He paused, searching for the right words. "Your people remind me of something we've lost. We're a logical civilization, orderly. We've eliminated most conflict, most inefficiency. But sometimes I wonder if we've also eliminated the passion that drives true innovation, the willingness to risk everything for a connection." Chen smiled. "We call it hope, or stubbornness. The line between them is pretty blurry."